So when you think about your life using a GPS, what's your life's GPS? Are you getting lost in life? Do you not have a life GPS? And therefore you just feel like you done lost your way and now you just not able to fulfill those things in life that you would have wanted to fulfill, or you don't even know what you need to fulfill because you don't have a life GPS. Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and joy while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. Enjoy, and today I bring to you episode 65, Purpose Path, navigating life's aspirations and ambitions. And so this week marks week number 4 of the Inspire Joy series. The Inspire Joy series is episodes 62 to 68. So that will be 7 weeks because it is based on the Inspire Joy method brought to you by the Enjoyno. So INSPIRE. The first week we did integrity, which is unpacking all that mental baggage, trying to figure out how to transfer your negative thoughts into positive thoughts, those negative emotions into positive emotions, cultivating gratitude, as well as getting past those evil traumas that some of us are battling. So that was I on episode 62. Episode 63 was the N for nurture. So it was nurture reset, making sure we're prioritizing our physical health and making sure we're getting active, eating balanced meals, eating healthily, as well as making sure we're prioritizing our sleep. And then last week, episode 64 was stability. Stability in money moves, in fact. So that is focusing on our financial health, because if we don't, there is a world of stress, feeling drained, increased anxiety, increased depression. Financial health or lack thereof definitely can impact your mental health. So now we get into the P in Inspire, purpose. Purpose path. What's your path in life? Do you know your purpose? Do you spend time reflecting and thinking about what your purpose is in life? Do you feel like you once knew your purpose and now it's kind of like, oh, I'm kind of lost in this job. I'm kind of lost in what I'm doing. I kind of lost my way. Do you feel like it's time to get back on that path that you were on, or you just never knew what your purpose was and you just kind of got thrown into things, and or you kind of know what your purpose is, but you're not prioritizing yourself or prioritizing your wants and needs? Most of us fall in those categories. Maybe you are living your purpose, and that is just awesome. But that is why we have to focus on all these areas of our health, because it all goes back to our mental health. Your finances might be great. You might have a great job that's paying you and you don't have no debt and you're just doing amazing. You're rocking it out, making it rain, all those things. And your physical health is great. But then if you don't feel like you're living in your purpose, that's two separate things. Like, you can be out of debt and be making a lot of money, but it doesn't mean you're living your purpose and you feel fulfilled. A lot of rich people don't feel like they're living their purpose or don't feel like they have a purpose in their life. So it's really important to cultivate, what is my purpose? What are my ambitions? What are my aspirations? And aiming towards that. And that's one of the reasons why purpose is kind of one of the last ones, because it does kind of feel like we need to prioritize our integrity first, our self-care first, take care of our physical health first, and then focus on our purpose. But that's also why all these things are here in the Enjoyno, so that you can balance all those things out, because we have to focus on each day. What am I doing each day to enhance my mental health? And then what am I doing each day to enhance my physical health? What am I doing each day to enhance my financial health, my social health, my aspirational health? But today is all about the aspirations. And as you know, the Enjoyno is packed with colors and people, relatable people. So now we have our purpose chapter. So we have men in the Enjoyno and we have women in the Enjoyno. And I put this wonderful, beautiful person to represent our Black LGBTQ plus individuals, because We all can suffer from stress, lack of purpose, lack of finances, lack of all these things. And I just kind of wanted everybody to feel accepted in this book because I love working with everyone. So this book is for everyone. So, thinking about our purpose, why do we need a purpose? I mean, there's so many different analogies. I like to use analogies. I mean, if you're driving somewhere, and in Atlanta, I feel like I'm always using a GPS. But if you're driving somewhere these days, you usually are going to lock in your GPS to try to figure out how to get there. Because in this city, if you don't know where you're going and you don't have a plan or you don't have a GPS, you're going to get lost. You're going to end up somewhere and you're going to be late to where you're going. So that's why I'm always using the GPS. And even if I know how to get to where I'm going, I use the GPS anyway because maybe there's a better route. A nice good example is when I'm taking my kids to school. They go to private school, so it's not just up the street. It can take 25 minutes to get there in the summer, but it can take 40 minutes to get there during the regular school when all the school buses and all that are in the way. So I use a GPS no matter what. So I can know, is there traffic going down this normal right that I really like to take? Do I need to go another way? And that helps me get to where I need to go because I'm using the GPS and I'm not ending up late because I done dropped them off late and then everybody's late. Well, everybody's day is late. So when you think about your life using a GPS, what's your life's GPS? Are you getting lost in life? Do you not have a life GPS? And therefore you just feel like you done lost your way and now you just not able to fulfill those things in life that you would have wanted to fulfill, or you don't even know what you need to fulfill because you don't have a life GPS. So it's definitely really important when you think about your purpose. How am I going to get through life? What am I going to do? And having a lack of purpose, like I said, it impacts your mental health. The more people who actually have a purpose, know their dreams, fulfilling their dreams, and living into their dreams, they are less likely to experience depression, less likely to experience stress, less likely to experience anxiety. So it's a positive impact when you focus on yourself, focus on what you should be doing, and reaping that mental reward of, yes, I'm doing that thing and I'm rocking it out. And also, knowing your purpose increases resilience, increases that bounce back. That's one of the letters in Inspire. Resilience is the R in Inspire. So I will get to that as well as we talk about being able to get through our challenges and being able to bounce back. So knowing your purpose increases resilience because then you're like, oh, I met that challenge. I ran into that challenge, but I know what my purpose is. I see the end of the tunnel. I see that target. So I know where I need to be. And so I'm reading your comment. Thank you. Yes, indeed. I was feeling lost in life, but after rerouting my life, I'm back on track. Exactly. Using that GPS example, they might say rerouting. Yeah. And if you're not using that, you're going on the wrong path and you're not on course, and getting back and rerouting your life is definitely very important. So I'm glad to hear that for sure. So, as I was saying, knowing your purpose increases resilience and increases your ability to get through those challenges. And I love sharing my story. A lot of people know my story, and I have mentioned it a bit on this podcast, but not to too much details because I was probably talking about something else. But hey, we're talking about purpose path, so we can talk about my purpose path. So, when I was 5, I got hit by a car. Was walking to school with my sister who was 8, and we weren't looking. I got it. And I always remember that as being a defining moment in my life where I wanted to be a doctor. I literally remember being in an ambulance and going to the doctor and seeing the doctors. I'm just like, ooh, they're taking care of me. And luckily, I didn't have any broken bones or anything. I just remember limping for 2 weeks straight and my mom having to like struggle to carry me. I was 5, so I guess I was heavy, but I remember that. But what came out of that was like, ooh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a baby doctor. So that kind of forged the way of like my purpose early on. So initially it was easy because I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor. Oh, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor. So in high school, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do these science projects. Oh, yeah, honors. I'm making all A's. I was doing that thing. I'm like, oh, this is easy. Oh, yeah. But then college happened. I went to college and it wasn't so easy. It was not easy at all. I was in all A's in high school, like I said. I got my first D when I went to college. It was a D in biology. I remember I was majoring in biopsychology and I actually got a D in biopsychology. I'm like, what? So I ended up switching my major to psychology because I'm like, how am I going to have a D in what my major is? So I said, well, let me switch it to psychology, but I'm still pre med. So I'm still going to go down this course of being pre med and check these boxes off. And I remember taking physics and I got a C in physics. It was like all the science classes. I was just scoring low or getting low grades. And I was just going through the motions. I'm like, cool. My purpose is to be a doctor. So I'm going to just keep going through these motions. But one semester, I got a 1.9 GPA. And I'm trying to remember, that must have been chemistry and physics too, was what I was taking during that semester. But I remember like that was a really low point because it finally hit me. I was like, wait a minute. I'm taking all these classes and I'm not doing well in these sciences. Science is not cut out for me. And I remember journaling and literally saying to myself that I was too stupid for medical school. I remember saying that, obviously, lots of tears. What I say about them negative affirmations, they work. Negative thoughts work. So it worked. I felt awful. I said, okay, I can't go to medical school. So I remember actually at that point studying for the GRE because I was like, well, maybe medical school and the sciences aren't for me. Maybe I could do graduate school and get a psychology PhD and become a psychologist. So I was still like, okay, psychology, I like that. I can be a therapist still. But I'm spiritual. I'm a Christian. I was a part of the gospel chorale. And in that gospel chorale, University of Michigan, they love to prophesy. So I had a young pastor in my gospel chorale, and he looked at me and he said, Nina, you are going to medical school. You are going to travel the world and you are going to be successful. Oh my God, I remember that moment. I have like since reached out to him. I was just like, you know what you done did to me that night. But anyhow, it confirmed that, okay, yeah, I'm going to medical school. I don't know how that's going to happen because look at these scores, look at my track record, but apparently I'm going. So, that's where that resilience started to build up in me because I said, okay, it's meant to happen. I have this purpose. I have this track, this path that I'm supposed to be on. The terrain is pretty rough on the way, but at least I know that I'm headed there. It's almost like, and I remember drawing this in my journals too. I remember feeling like I was on a mountain like on this side and medical school. It was always about medical school. It wasn't about what came after medical school, but medical school was on this mountain. And I was just like, I don't know what the bridge is. I don't know how I'm going to get there. But I knew I was going to end up on that other mountain at some point. So I still decided to take a break and not do pre-med classes for the duration of college because it was just like, it was getting too hard. I needed a break. So I finished college with a 2.7 GPA and I was like, okay, I know I can't get into medical school with that. So that's when I went to Wayne State and took some post-bac classes, 1 to 2 classes a semester for about 3 semesters just to boost my GPA. And there were still times where I just was like, I still don't know if I'm cut out for this, but I was always taken back. I think it was 1 Timothy 4:14. It was a scripture that said, do not forget the prophecy that was given to you. And I'm like, whoa, wait, I was given a prophecy. Okay. So there were always constant reminders. And I know I'm going on a spiritual path here today. I usually don't do that, but hey, that's a part of my life. So I'm going to do that. And that really is what continued to lead me in my path towards medical school, towards being a doctor, because I said, okay, I'm going to do this. And that increased my confidence and increased my ability to put more effort in. I told myself constantly, my GPA is not a reflection of my intelligence. My GPA is a reflection of my effort. Maybe it was something I was just doing wrong, right? And I know it was something I was doing wrong. I would take these beautiful, beautiful notes. I never went back to them. I didn't study them. I didn't study them. And I remember being in college studying and seeing like these other people just walk in and, oh, no, I'm not studying. And then they end up getting an A. But for me, I had to study and I had to like look at stuff over and over and over again. But that's okay. That's all right. If you're different and you got to do those things, that's who you are. Just know what you need to do in order to get there. So, ended up taking the medical college admissions test, the MCAT, and still didn't do well on that. I was like, okay, but I know I'm going to medical school. So I took it a second time. Still wasn't doing well. Okay, well, I know I'm going to medical school. So I took it a third time. And I was ready to take it a fourth time because I was just like, man, this score's still low, but I know I'm supposed to go to medical school. So it was like, okay, what do I need to do better to do better on the test? But then I ended up getting into the post-bac program at Michigan State, which meant that once I did good in that program, then I can go right into the medical school at the College of Human Medicine. So that was a breaking point where I finally did it, and the confidence was still there. And at that point, I learned how to study. I learned to be organized. And I was like one of the most organized people. I would like make these charts and stuff and send it out to my classmates. They're like, okay, Nina's got another chart here. Okay. They loved it. Anyhow, my point is that you got to know what your purpose is, even if it's just a glimmer of it, even if you don't know exactly how you're going to get there, know it. And once you get to that first step, which is medical school, maybe you have to realign what your purpose is after that. Because once I got to med school, I'm like, cool. It was kind of like this plateau. It was like, I'm there. I made it. I made it to med school. Yay. And I graduated. And I mean, well, the next goal, sure. Okay. So I realigned my next path was like getting into residency and getting into the training program for pediatrics and psychiatry and all that. But then once I graduated from residency, there was still this like kind of plateau of like, okay, I'm doing it. Okay. I think I felt not as fulfilled because at that point I was been so focused. And as Black women, we focus so much on our career where we don't end up focusing on our personal life. So I did my 20s was all about getting to med school, and during my 30s I said, you know what, it's time. I got to get married. I want to have kids. I want to do these things. So you might refocus, your goals and your purpose based on that. And it doesn't mean that just because you want to get married that it's just going to happen. Of course, you have to plan it out and plan your life as if it may not happen, or make things happen where you get to that. So like, obviously you can't just get married without dating, right? So, whether you date online or date in person, those things you have to make plans for. So how am I going to get married? How am I going to do those things? So anyhow, that's how I spent my 30s, of course. Fast forward, I did meet my husband. I did get married. I did have kids, and still kind of feeling like not unfulfilled in my purpose. It was just like I felt like I wasn't aiming like too much higher, because I was like, okay, I'm a doctor now. I did it. I got to that point. I'm helping people, but I didn't really have like extra aspirations on top of that, which was fine, until 2023, after I had my second baby, but third child, because I have a bonus child. And I said, you know what? I want to start my own business. And so I kind of feel like in my 40s has now started this path of just exploding and doing more and feeling freer and really branding myself and having my own brand. And now it's more of like, okay, well, what's the purpose of my business? Let's do a private practice. Ooh, let's do a podcast. And it's just been fun. And let's write a journal, so that's been a part of it. And then let's write another book. Let's do this and that. So your life doesn't just stop at that first goal. And so in this chapter on purpose, there are, of course, prompts and questions asking you about your purpose shift. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, each chapter has the word shift after it because we want to shift our emotions. So emotion shift, thought shift, purpose shifts. We want to shift into joy. So there are prompts for you And like, okay, Dr. Minna, Dr. Enjoy, you talking about you knew since you were 5 that you wanted to be a doctor. How do I know what I want to do? That doesn't happen with everybody. I know it. Yeah, no, it doesn't happen with everybody. But that's why this is really good to go through these prompts. Discover your values. What are the top 5 values that are most important to you? So that's where it starts. Well, how do I know what I want to do? I've been a bank teller all my life. I've been working in sales all my life, whatever it is that you're working in and it feels mundane. Or I've been a lawyer. I've done that hard work and become a lawyer, but I hate it. There's people that feel that way, right? So, what do you value? What gives you joy? What makes you want to just keep doing it and not go to bed? And the hours and hours don't went by, and you're just like, whoa, this feels good. I mean, as I said the other day, if your purpose is like to become a photographer and you're like, but that doesn't make money, how can I do it? I'm not telling you to leave your day job just yet, figure it out and make a plan. And also, if your day job has fantastic benefits and things are going great for it, maybe you do stay in that, but your purpose isn't just about your career and your job, but you're doing that purpose in another way, right? So that photography business you're still doing on the side, but you're still doing that thing that fulfills you while you stay in that other job. And then maybe once that thing kicks off that's on the side, maybe that does end up being that thing that you do. But it doesn't have to be that, oh, I have to have this huge career in order to feel like you're living your purpose. Your purpose could be in another way and not just in your career, if that makes sense. So there are people who live jobs, but they're fulfilling their purpose in other ways. And another prompt in here that I ask you to reflect on is reflecting on past joys. So thinking about your value, but also thinking about the last time you felt joy. What were you doing when you felt joy? Oh, I was at the zoo and I was looking at those zebras and this, that, and the other. Do you need to be a zookeeper? Do you want to be a parks keeper? Things like that. Just thinking about what brings you joy. Oh, every time I draw, getting it more into drawing, getting more into painting, or it's the arts, or you're creative, or it's being a content creator, digital, thinking about all those things. I mean, it doesn't just have to be that you do it for fun, but maybe there's a way to do it and also make money. So making a small business with that. People are creating small businesses left and right with what they enjoy doing. And then when you make a plan, you are able to make it successful. We all have to have a GPS. I mentioned that earlier. Getting a GPS and knowing how to navigate your way to wherever you're going. You don't want to get lost. So if you have a plan to change careers or change jobs or make your hobby into a small business, having a plan and spelling it out is extremely important so that it can be successful, because that would create stress if you feel like you fail. But again, knowing your purpose increases your resilience and letting you know that failure is just a part of the process. I failed quite a few times, as I mentioned. And had I let that get in the way, I would not be talking to you all right now. And I just take myself back every time I hear the song Closer to My Dreams by Guapale. That takes me back. I remember a summer job that I had. I guess that song must have came on in the summertime all the time. But I just remember driving to that job. I was a camp counselor. And that song would come up and I just put it on blast, Closer to My Dreams. I'm like, I was far from it, but I was still like picturing myself. I'm like, I'm closer to my dream. So that's another thing too. Positive affirmations. I kept telling myself, I'm gonna get there. I don't know how, but I'm gonna get there. So I'm very grateful and honored to even be able to talk to you all even now, because just remembering what I went through is just amazing. So envisioning your ideal future, that's prompt 3 in the purpose shifts. Where are you in the future? I used to write that a lot in my journal. I would picture myself. I remember being 25 and I created a letter to myself when I was 50. And I said, okay, this is what I'm doing now that I'm 50. I said I was married. I described my husband at the time. I described my career at the time. And after I met my husband, I looked back at it and I was like, whoa, this actually describes you, right? So when you spell things out, you look for it. And I would go back and look at this career. And that was one of the things when I mentioned that I was in medical school and residency training. And even after that, when I did academic medicine, there was kind of this plateau where, yeah, sure, I'm living my dream, but it just felt like, am I done? And so going back to that journal where I had wrote my ideal future of what I was doing at 50, there was more. It said that I was going to have this community center, this empowerment center. I was doing Enjoy Life. And at the time, I wasn't doing Enjoy Life. So I was like, well, when am I going to do that? So 2023 was when I was just like, well, that's got to be now. I'm going to start it. Got to start somewhere. So it may be a sole owner LLC right now, but hey, it's gonna go somewhere. And then look, you look for those things. I have 11 license in 11 states now, so hey, it's getting there. It's getting there. So envision your ideal future. Imagine your life. This says 5 years from now in the best possible scenario, but I'm talking, start thinking about 10 years, 20 years. What do you see? But it's good to have short-term goals and long-term. Identify your passion, set purpose-driven goals. And so there's other parts on here. I've mentioned SMART goals. We got to spell it out. So the SMART goals, SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely goals. So I couldn't just get to med school. I had to build that bridge from one mountain to the next. So little wooden piece by wooden piece, I had to plan out, how am I going to do this? Well, I need mentors to help me through it. Well, I need to pass the medical college admissions test. And then under those different plans that you have in order to forge your way to your goal, I mean, you got to map that out. So how am I going to pass the medical college admissions test? I got to go and take this pre-med course. I go and take that prep course. It's a lot of different things, but that's why we got to plan it out. And don't neglect your future, and don't feel like you don't deserve to have a purpose or to be able to live your purpose. Because yes, you do. If I decided that, no, I don't deserve it, then wow, how many people wouldn't be impacted? And so you listening, you are going to impact someone too. It's like a pay it forward. We all are a part of this tree of life, or however you want to think of it. We all have a purpose. Whether you're the tree at the top or the root at the bottom in the ground, you all have a purpose. Or if you are a janitor, hey, we're just watching, I forget the name of it. My sons out there are watching a movie about a janitor who ended up creating, I think he created hot Cheetos or something, but they watching that movie out there right now. So, hey, or truck driver or whatever. My brother's a truck driver, and he's traveling the world and the country and having a great time. So it doesn't matter where you are now. Don't think of yourself as, oh, I'm just a. No, you are a, and you will be a. So we have to work on ourselves, work on our purpose, figure it out, because you can and will be someone, and you are someone. And once you achieve your purpose, it feels good. It's less stress. It takes time, but nurturing your aspirational health is just as important as everything else. And once you are doing that, you are stronger and you are able to take care of others. So that is Purpose Path. I am talking. I think that is all I will do for today. I love talking about purpose. It's one of my favorite topics. Let me know what you feel like your purpose is and what you are working on. I really appreciate you all for listening. So this was the P in Inspire, purpose. Next week is the I in Inspire, the second I, which is intimacy, which is our social health. Ooh-wee. And that is really about what can we do in ourselves to enhance our social health, because the only person you can control is yourself. So remember, I have my book launch, and I was going to say party. Well, actually, it is technically a party. I didn't even mention that the book launch is the day before my birthday. So if you want to come to a birthday party and not a book launch, you can come to that. So anyway, October 19th from 2 to 4 at Studio House Atlanta. Thank you so much. Stephanie done bought her ticket and is coming into town. That is absolutely amazing. I really appreciate you. Appreciate all my supporters. Share, share, share. Tell people about the Enjoyno. Follow, like, subscribe, share, do all those things. I really appreciate it because at the end of the day, this is about us inspiring joy in everybody, including ourselves. So appreciate you on this journey to joy and have a great week. See you next week. Thank you.